don't know, my guy TJ, his whole brand is child support is fraud. Long story short, he was on the short end of the stick for 22 years, right, for child support, and he was able to the same thing that I'm telling Veso. He evaluated his own case, went back for paperwork. So like y'all do not want to miss tomorrow. We're talking about someone that was under the system for 22 years and decided that I'm not taking it anymore and went back, beat the system, got paid, and is now an activist for child support.
Yeah, we need him.
Yeah, so he's gonna be here tomorrow. So y'all save y'all child support questions for tomorrow. You guys will love tomorrow. So tomorrow's gonna be
So I
lit.
looked at my credit today
Mm-hmm.
and it's 776.
Let's go.
Thank you, thank you. I want to see 800, but I'll take
800
the
coming soon.
776 for today.
800 coming soon. Coming soon.
I've seen an account from way back when, from 2017. They added back to my credit. It's a
Positive or
good
negative?
account. It's a good account, but it has a balance, and the balance is not true. It's from Fingerhut. I ordered from Fingerhut. I paid it off.
Mm-hmm.
They said I paid it off. I got a letter stating everything was paid off. I sent it in,
Oh,
and they
that's simple then. So
but they put it back on.
so
Do the CRAs just have nothing else to do during a day and say, let me dig up some old stuff
so
and then
no,
throw it back on there?
it's
Like
they are not the ones that dig it up. It's the furnisher.
but I
But
don't
they
even have that account from 2017. I don't even
yeah, but remember, the consumer reporting agencies report information they get, right? So
Mm.
Fingerhut reported you back. So the item was deleted, right?
It was.
Mm-hmm. So if it got reinserted, what does that trigger?
But see, you know what?
No,
I don't
wait, wait,
I
wait.
don't think that they did it though.
Hold on, Coy. Wait. It's not a
Okay.
matter of what you think. What you think is irrelevant. It's what you can prove, right? We know
True.
this part, correct?
True.
All right. So if a previously deleted item got reinserted,
It triggers the law
isn't the
that states that they have 5 business days to tell.
yes, Coy?
Yes.
Yes. So now were you notified within 5 business days that this previously deleted item was reinserted?
Well, it was reinserted today. So I guess they have 5 days to tell me.
So now you need to get something in the mail within the next 5 days. And what happens if you don't get it?
Then I can get it removed. It is
Yes,
a positive
and
account.
it
I
doesn't
mean,
matter. It doesn't
yeah.
matter if it's positive or negative. There's a law that clearly speaks about when a previously deleted item gets reinserted and the procedure that must be followed. Come on, guys. Like this, like you should smile when you see stuff like this. Because when we go to uh where are we? No, that's 60.
You hear credit baby in the back?
Mm-hmm. Hey baby. 1681 I.
She will not be attending Puerto Rico.
I got you. I got you.
And I'm bringing the team too. It's
Uh,
about business, so I'm bringing my right hand. I remember
that's
at the
good.
summit, you said that you have to have a few people close to you that you trust to help you build this business.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they should be there as well.
The exposure is good. All right, look at this. 5B. Requirements relating to reinsertion of what? Previously deleted material. You see what must happen? It's right here. So
Wait, which one is this?
we're at I. We're at 15 USC 1681. I, it's I5B. So I5B speaks about requirements relating to reinsertion of previously deleted material. So one, a certification of accuracy of information, right? If any information is deleted from a consumer's file, person to subparagraph A, the information may not be reinserted in the file by the consumer reporting agency unless what? the person who furnishes the information certifies that the information is complete and accurate. So we are going to demand a certification of the information from the consumer reporting agency on behalf of the furnisher that reinserted the information or that furnished back the information that they reinserted about the complete and the accuracy of the information. And you know that the information is inaccurate, right? Why?
Right.
Because earlier you said to me that, hey, Daraine, they said that I have a balance, but I also have a document stating that the account was paid off. So
Right.
how is there a balance? So right now you should be seeing money signs. You see why I got excited when you said it?
Okay.
So
Money
it's
sign.
come on, you see where we're going with this. It's not what you think, it's what you can prove. It's not what you know. Let's prove what we are saying. All right,
So they
cool.
don't remove it. This is small claims,
Small claims. Which state you're in?
North Carolina.
What's your small claims cap?
I think it's 12 or 15,000, one of them.
Go for the whole bag.
The whole bag.
Go for the whole bag. So this is my point. So sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, when something's happened on your reports and you're like, oh my God, they put it back. I want you to take a deep breath because like there's money on your reports. There's money on your reports. And when you change the things you look at, boy, the things you look at will also change, right?
Will also change.
Correct. So all we need to do is evaluate. Okay, it was deleted, then it got reinserted. What law speaks about when something got deleted and they put it back? Oh, reinsertion. Let me go on over to the reinserted part of the law. What does it say? It says excellent.
1881
I5B. I5B. So spend some time there, read it, and start putting it together. Monday, I will expect a report from you as to the strategy you're going to use, and then I will add or subtract from it. Sounds like a plan?
Definitely.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you so much.
You're absolutely
Credit Baby says
welcome.
hi.
Hello, Credit Baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the 8 o'clock mark where we're 5 minutes over. So let's welcome general admission. Welcome everybody in the Facebook group. You got a little piece of how we get down in the brain picker session. I've been telling you guys, y'all need to update y'all tickets. Y'all need to upgrade y'all tickets because the brain picker session, it is so insightful. You literally get to pick my brain. And the only persons that get to do this is the students in the university. And for those of you that are not in the university, it's kind of hard for y'all to pick my brain without being on a challenge. So if we're not on a challenge and you got a brain pick a ticket, you are not going to pick my brain. If you're not in the university, sorry to say you will not pick my brain. This brain is reserved for people that decide that, hey, I'm my greatest investment. The same way I decided that I'm my greatest investment. So it's only right that I let people of like mind that decides to invest in themselves to pick my brain. I don't see no problem with that. So we're going to transition over. So tonight we're talking about student loans and we are talking about repossessions. Student loans will be first. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, Emil, where's Emil? Is Emil here?
Yep, I'm right here.
All right, so Emil, let's do some aha moments. I'm about to go get some water. I forgot to bring some water in here. I'm gonna go get some water, so give me like maybe a minute and a half and I'll be right back. Let's do some aha moments and then we're gonna transition over into student loans.
Alrighty.
One
Yeah.
second, Britt, is Juju here? There's someone I'm looking for.
I was double checking looking for participants. I didn't see.
All right, hit her up and let her know that we're live.
Got you.
All right, cool. So yeah, Emil, over to you. Do some aha moments, some takeaways, and your boy will be right back.
All right, yeah, fantastic. So again, guys, welcome to day 3 of the 5-day challenge. I hope you guys have been getting some amazing jewels from this challenge. What we want to do is we want to pretty much see if anybody had any aha moments, any moments that happened this week, or even since you joined with Durain Delavante. Anything that's happened to you since you've joined the program, since you've been able to obtain this information. What do we got? You can just unmute and go through anything that you guys have been able to successfully do with the program. What we got? What we got? I know Karen got some stuff over there. Wayne got some stuff. What's going on? Talk to me.
I'm sorry, I'm busy trying to post everything on the Facebook group. I apologize.
All right. Well, what we got? What we got? Or you can put them in the chat. Maybe you don't want to unmute, but you can put them in the chat. Anything good that's happened to you this week or since you've been in the university?
Emil,
What's happening? What's going on?
it's Koi.
What's going on, Coy?
I didn't want to leave you hanging out there.
You
know,
Nah, you good. You good.
the bankruptcy's been coming off like water.
Mm-hmm.
And my aha moment, when I actually went through the process, I found out that the courts do not report. That was my aha moment. And then to freeze LexisNexis and for Equifax to say, hey, well, we got the information from LexisNexis. And they said, well, we got the information from Pacer. But Pacer says, we can't guarantee this is accurate. Blew my mind.
Fantastic. I mean,
And the
listen,
fact
it's
that
all
you
about.
can take that to the CFPB and get a deletion is
Yeah.
amazing.
And see, that's just following the process, right? Like, again, everything that you do is a process, is making sure that first you handle the things that's supposed to be handled first, and then also just moving on along the line of the process and not missing any steps in between. That's the beauty of mentorship, right? When you're in mentorship, you're able to now continuously get that coaching, but you have to be wanting to tap into it. So as long as you're tapping into it, you're going to be able to successfully get your results. What else we got?
Cool.
What else we got?
Hey, Coy, this is for Coy. So when you got that
Yeah.
letter saying that they got the information from Pacer, did you send a letter out to Pacer? And that's where you got a response from them?
No, I didn't send out a letter to Pacer. Pacer already tells you that they can't guarantee it's accurate, and then they don't have permissible purpose to put that
Right.
on your credit report in the first place. So no one asked LexisNexis to go ask Pacer anything. So why am I going to Pacer?
Right. That's what I thought. Because I actually had one of those and they said they got the information from Pacer. And I'm like, wait a minute here.
Okay,
That don't make sense.
you asked them, that's fine, but no one told you to post that on my credit report. That's my problem with
Yeah,
the
right.
message. Like,
Good
I
deal.
didn't tell you to go do that. You didn't have permission from me to do that, and they can't guarantee it's accurate. So
Right.
you're violating me 360 degrees. You're violating me, and that's the type of energy I give them too.
Sounds like y'all are getting
Nice.
turned up in here. Emil, what did you start? Turned up.
Spread of information,
It
spread of
sounded like we
information.
were talking about that 4-day bankruptcy deletion method.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
Okay, okay.
I was bringing them that fire.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Coy.
It's kind of what we're gonna go over tonight too with student loans. Student loans, right? Student loan servicers. What do we know about student loan servicers? That's a very good question. Let me Google this and see what's up.
Oh, just to let you guys know, I do have a recording from well, I think it's TransUnion. Someone that works at TransUnion in the fraud department, one of the managers. I have her saying that they have the information from Pacer.
That's the
And
only place for them to get it.
Right.
I'm gonna be going stupid on this tomorrow. So for those of you that want to learn the 4-day bankruptcy method, tomorrow is the day you're gonna learn it. Because tomorrow is bankruptcy, child support, and I believe charge off is tomorrow. So just make sure y'all got your stuff tomorrow.
All right, I'll tell you the story tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll go over it. We'll do it on the brain picker session. All right. So when it comes to student loan, what's a student loan service? Because I never liked these people anyway, right? So I don't like them. So a student loan service is a company that we assign to handle the billing and other services on your federal student loan or on our behalf of no cost to you, right? All right, this part. This definition came from the federal government, right? Your federal aid. It's a .gov website, it's the government. And this is what they're saying. We assign. Permissible purpose cannot be assigned. It has to be between you and the corporation. You know what? Let me go Google this, because can permissible purpose be assigned? Can you assign permissible purpose? I'm curious as to what they're going to say. Yes, you can assign permissible purpose to certain uses of a consumer report. The Fair Credit Reporting Act defines permissible purpose to protect the consumer privacy. Well, you can't assign something that you give one person. So what are you talking about? Let's see what they got. For employment purposes, for eligibility, child support enforcement. No, this is not correct. For example, a financial institution can obtain a consumer's credit report for a legitimate business need, such as to review an account or to determine if the consumer continued to meet terms of the account. The FCRA requires a permissible purpose before pulling an individual's credit report. For example, employees of CRA who knowingly provide consumer reports to those who do not have a permissible purpose could face up to 2 years of imprisonment. Right. So when we talk about permissible purpose, we talk about 15 U.S.C. 1681b, right? And 15 U.S.C. 1681b is very specific. Subject to subsection C, any consumer reporting agency may furnish a consumer report under the following circumstances and no other, right? And as you can clearly see, number 2 says, with the written instructions of the consumer to whom it relates. So if I gave XYZ company permissible purpose, this is between me and them. This is a domain to XYZ company. I did not give them permission to then assign my information over to ZYX company. I did not do that. I gave them permission. They are the ones, XYZ. Lorraine Delavanti gives XYZ company permission to pull his report, not ZYX. So this would be where you originally applied for your student loan, right? And then they, student loan servicers, took that information and sent it over here to this company that you didn't even do business with. So how does that justify the fact now that they are reporting your information and acting as the creditor? They are not the creditor because, number 1, you don't have any contract with them. Number 2, you did not give them any permissible purpose. Now, some of the deception that they use, they'll tell you that F, right? F, otherwise have a legitimate business need for the information. Well, in connection with a business transaction that is initiated by the consumer. Number 2, to review an account to determine whether the consumer continues to meet the terms of the account. Now, when we're talking about this is your Amex, right? This is Amex. Amex does this all the time. This is why they shut down people's credit card periodically, because when you sign the terms and agreement, you also give them permission to do periodic pulls, and this comes in the form of review. And some of you are saying that, oh, I never gave a debt collector any permissible purpose to report anything on my credit report. Let me show you where that is not true. There's a part here that gives debt collectors in connection. Where is it? There's a part here, it gives them, here we go, for collection or review, here we go. This. So, to a person which has a reason to believe that A, intends to use the information in connection with a credit transaction involving the consumer on whom the information is to be furnished and involving the extension of credit or review or collection. So when you hear people talking about debt collection and talking about, I didn't give the debt collector any permissible purpose to report anything on my credit, they don't need your permission, because permissible purpose, the law itself give them the right to report and pull your reports based on the fact that it's an account that is either in review or up for collection. So they don't need your permission to report the information, but there are procedures that must be followed before they reported it, like the no parking rule, making sure that they send you the validation letter, and it should be in the model form B1. And if you don't respond in 14 days, they can put it on your credit. And if you don't respond in 30 days, they can assume the debt to be valid, and then they can take it to court, right? So now let's go over to our student loan. The first thing I want us to talk about is the law called FERPA. So this law, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, this is the law that kind of protects you when it comes to student loans, right? Or your educational rights. So FERPA, 20 USC 1232G or 34 CFR Part 99 is a federal law that protects the privacy of student educational records. The law applies to all schools that receive funds under the applicable program of the U.S. Department of Education. So this law applies to what? All schools. So make sure you take a note of that. See, FERPA gives parents certain rights with respect to their children's educational records. These rights transfer to the student when he or she reaches what? 18. So the FERPA rights, ladies and gentlemen, the FERPA rights, when you are a minor, meaning that you're under 18, your parents, this law can be used on your behalf by your parents. But when you turn 18, right? When you turn 18 and you attend school beyond the high school level, the students to whom the rights have transferred, eligible students, right? So when you go off to college now and all of that stuff, you now become the FERPA person. Like the laws and the rights of FERPA now applies to you. So parents or eligible students. So eligible students here would be 18 years or older, right? That would be eligible students. They have the right to inspect and review the student educational records maintained by the school. Schools are not required to provide copies of records unless, for reasons such as great distance, it is impossible for parents, eligible students to review the records. School may charge a fee for copies, we know that. Parents or eligible students have the right to request that a school correct records which they believe to be inaccurate. If there is inaccurate information on your student loan, on your student records, your student loans, ladies and gentlemen, is a part of your student records. It's not just your academics. If you have student loans or anything relating to your education, that's also a part of your educational records. So if information on there is inaccurate or you believe to be inaccurate or misleading, if the school decides not to amend the record, the parent or the eligible student then has the right for a formal hearing. After the hearing, if the school still decides not to amend the record, the parent or eligible child has the right to place a statement with the record setting forth his or her view about that. So we're not doing that. We're just going to sue them, guys. So generally, schools must have what? Written permission from, so we're going to evaluate this part. Generally, schools must have written permission from the parent or eligible student in order to release any information from a student's educational record. All right. I want you guys to simmer this part down. I want you guys to take this part in. I want you guys to look at this part. All right. Schools must have written permission from the parent or eligible student in order to release any information from a student's educational records, right? However, FERPA allows school to disclose those records without consent to the following parties under the following conditions. So school officials with legitimate educational interests, okay? Other schools to which a student is transferring, okay? Specified officials for audit or evaluation purposes. Appropriate parties in connection with financial aid to a student. Organizations conducting certain studies for or on behalf of the school. Accredited organization to comply with what a judicial order or lawfully issued subpoena. Appropriate officials in the case of health and safety emergencies, and state and local authorities. School may disclose without consent directory information such as student's name, address, phone number, date, place of birth, honors and awards, and dates of attendance. However, schools must tell parents and eligible students about the directory information and allow parents and eligible students a reasonable amount of time to request that the school what? Not disclose directory information about them. So school must notify parents and eligible students annually of their rights under FERPA, the actual means of notification, special letter, inclusion in a PTA bulletin, student handbook. Nothing in here says that a school should give your information to a student loan servicer. Nothing. Your information is supposed to be protected. Your information is not public information. Your school records, which includes your student loan accounts, your transactional accounts, also are a part of your student records. So my question to you is this: when did you give the student loan servicer any permission, written permission, or authority to report your student loan information? So that's something that I want you guys to think about. When did you give it to them? At what point did you give a student loan servicer any written permission to, one, report your educational records, which is what your student loans are? It's a part of your educational record. When did you give that permission to have that release of information to a for-profit consumer reporting agency? That's the question that I'm asking you. So for those of you with student loans, at what point did you do this? And at what point did they give you your FERPA rights and they told you about your FERPA rights? At what point did that happen? Put it in the chat. Like I'm literally asking you a question. When did you do that? All right. So next we're gonna look at is 15 USC 6801. Let me ask you guys a question. Is your student loan public information? Is your student records public information? Is your student loans or your student records public information? Yes or no? I'm seeing no, no, no. It should not be. No, no, no. And you are correct. Your student loans or your educational records, it's not public information. It's not. And because it's not public information, we must go to the law that speaks about the protection of non-public personal information, right? So privacy obligation policy. So I want you to think of this now from the point of view of the student loan servicer, right? And we're going to be looking into two entities here, right? Because sometimes the so you have student loan, and then you have student loan servicer, right? Sometimes they're not the same person. So this is the person that you applied to. This is where you did the application, right? You did the application here. And then they assigned this application to these people over here. And then these people report your information, right? That's normally how it goes. You apply for a student loan to FedLoan or whoever does student loan. And then in the very near future, you're getting calls and letters from a student loan servicer because they now assigned your account over to a student loan servicer, which now is reporting information on you. But is that legal? Is that lawful? Is that right? Do they have the right to do it? Do they have the legal right to do it? Okay. Let's evaluate. It is a policy of the Congress that each financial institution, well, if I applied for a student loan here and I got the alleged student loan, this makes them what? A financial institution. If they can approve and grant and give student loans, that makes them a financial institution. So we need to know and comprehend what the word financial institution means. So let's look at it. In general, the term financial institution means any institution. All right, so you want to look at this part. Any institution, this includes schools and student loan companies. Right? So in general, the term financial institutions mean any institution which is in the business of what? Engaging in financial activities. Well, isn't your schools or student loan companies giving out student loans, that means they're engaging in financial activities, right? So we know that the law applies to them. So it says it's the policy of the Congress that each financial institution has an affirmative and continuing obligation to respect the privacy of its customers and to protect the security and confidentiality of those customers' non-public information. So if the institution is bound by a private obligation policy or by a privacy obligation policy, at what point, ladies and gentlemen, at what point does the law says that your student loans have to get reported? It does not. If you do not want your student loans reported, by law, your information is supposed to be private and confidential. Nothing in your terms and agreement supersedes this law. Your information, your non-public personal information, which is what student loans are. Student loans aren't public information. Student loans are not public information. So, when we're talking about deleting student loans, a lot of you believe that it is impossible to delete student loans. It's not. This is the law. In addition to FERPA, this is what we use to delete student loans. All right? So I'm just going to break this down some more, and then we're going to go into repossession. Now, I want you to pay attention now, and I need you guys to be really, really paying attention here. In furtherance of the policy in subsection A. So we're talking about the same policy that I just read. Each agency or authority described in section 6805 of this title, other than the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection, shall establish appropriate safeguards. So all of these companies must have what? Safeguards in place for financial institutions subject to their jurisdiction relating to administrative, technical, and physical safeguards. To what? Number one, ensure the security and confidentiality of customer records and information. Guys, if your information is supposed to be secure and confidential, how can a student loan servicer tell you that they have the right to report? Like, make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense. The law says your information must be secured and it's confidential. What is the meaning of security? Can somebody tell me the meaning of security? Who can tell me the meaning of security? What does security mean?
Private.
All right. So just to prevent any feedback, I want you guys to drop the definitions in the chat. I should have made that clear. So drop the definition in the chat. What does security mean? And while you're at it, I want you to look up the cousin. It's called confidentiality. What does security and what does confidentiality mean? What do they mean? Because if a student loan servicer is going to tell me that they have the right to report my information, I'm here to tell you that that's a lie. My non-public personal information, and the last time I checked, my student loan was not a matter of public information. So, Mr. Student Loan Servicer, I want you to think really carefully before you respond to me. Is my student loan a matter of public information? That's my question. Is it? Yes or no? You're going to say no, because it's not public information. So if it's not public information, it simply means that the law that protects non-public personal information applies here. And it says that your institution has to secure my information, and my information is confidential. So if my information has to be secure and it's confidential, how are you telling me that you can report my non-public personal information to a consumer reporting agency? That is a lie. So now let me break this down to y'all. Number two, right? To protect against any anticipated threats or hazards to the security or integrity of such information. How many of you have been a part of a data breach from TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian? How many of you were a part of a data breach with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian? Guess what? You can sue TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and you can also sue the student loan servicer, and you can also sue the company that you applied for the student loan with. Because that company, they're supposed to protect your information against anticipated threats or hazards to the security or integrity of such information, and they did not. And number three, ladies and gentlemen, is to protect against unauthorized access. So the data breach that happened with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and your student loan information got compromised in this data breach, the student loan servicer should be held accountable. If you're a part of a data breach and your student loans information was included in that data breach, you can sue the student loan servicer for 15 U.S.C. 6801 violation. You can get paid. You can get paid for data breaches because the student loan servicer furnished your information, your records got breached, and as a result, you sustained harm or inconvenience. It's written. It's not something that I need to make up. It's right there on the board. It says that to protect against unauthorized access to or use of such records or information which could result in what? Substantial harm or inconvenience to any consumer. Your information got hacked. It is inconvenience and it has substantial harm because now I became a victim of identity theft. Who's responsible? The student loan servicer. They are the ones that furnished your information knowingly without a permissible purpose, violating not only your FERPA laws, but the protection of your non-public personal information. So can you get student loans deleted? The answer is yes. Can you get paid for it? Yes, but you need to take them to small claims or court. And that's how we get rid of student loans. All right. So now, next on the list is one of my favorite topics. Like, it's one of my favorite topics because the more I read this, the more I learn. Let's go to UCC 9 part 6. Let's go to UCC 9 part 6. UCC 9 part 6, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the repossession law dwells. This is where the repossession law lives. This is where repossession is at its finest. How many people in here tonight want to know or learn about repossessions? How do you evaluate a repossession? Who would like to know how we evaluate a repossession, how to delete a repossession, and how to get paid for repossession? All right. There's two things we need to know when it comes to repossession, right? Two things we need to know. We need to know federal laws, and we need to know state laws. Right? So for repossession, we need to know federal law and we need to know state law. Federal law is UCC 9 Part oh, UCC 9 Part 6. That's federal law, right? And then for your state law, all you need to do is Google your state repossession law. So whatever state you're in right now, you're just gonna go to Google, right? I'm in the state of Georgia right now. So I would Google Georgia state repossession law. So if you're in North Carolina, you should be putting in North Carolina state repossession law. If you're in Florida, Florida state repossession law. If you're in Alaska, Alaska state repossession law, right? So you want to make sure that you put in the right repossession law for your state. So as you can see, this right here, this law right here tells me where I need to go to pull up the Georgia state repossession law. So now I'm going to go here and I'm going to paste it. And this is what comes up. So now, ladies and gentlemen, this is my state repossession law. So you need to go and find your state repossession law. So as you can see, now I got federal and I have state, right? So I got state right here. Yo, y'all didn't know my board was that cool. Y'all didn't know my board was that cool, right? I bet y'all didn't know. Y'all didn't know. Y'all didn't know my board could do all this cool stuff. All right, so all right. So now we have state and federal law side by side. So how do you evaluate a repossession? Well, you want to evaluate the process of what happened, right? You want to evaluate the process of what happened. Was it a peaceful repossession? So when we talk about a peaceful repossession, this is where we go to, here we go. This is where we go to, secured party's right to take possession, right? So we know that a secured party has a right to take a possession. We know this, right? It says it in the law. So the secured party's right to take possession after default. Possession after default, rendering equipment unusable, disposition on debtor's premises. After default, a secured party may take possession of the collateral, right? And we're talking about now, without removal, they may render the equipment unusable and dispose of the collateral on a debtor's premises under section 9-610. All right. Now there's a judicial and a non-judicial process. So a secured party may proceed under subsection A, meaning that they may proceed to repossess the property. A secured party may proceed under subsection A, number one, person a judicial process, or, right, without a judicial process if it proceeds without the breach of peace. If it proceeds without the breach of peace. All right. If it proceeds without the breach of peace. So look at this. Car being repoed. You might not hear any sound. Breach. Oh, look at this guy. Here you go. So these repo guys, they are notorious, right? So let's look at this real quick. Let's look at this. So I wish you could hear the sound, but it's just not connected. But as you can see right here, there's a protest going on here, right? And then you have this handsome guy on here speaking. But let's go back a little bit. You notice she's on top of the car, right? She's on top of the car and she is protesting. Guys, this is what you call a breach of peace. If the repo man or repo woman, whatever they are, if they go to repo the car and there's a breach of peace, meaning that there's protest, there's fighting, there's shouting, there's an argument, that is known as a breach of peace. And the repossession is not peaceful, and that is a violation of UCC 9 Part 6. Right? That's on the federal side. Now, your state might have some other things that are required, and some of the things that your state might require, you just got to read through the state law. So let's read through the state law. Let's read through the state law. So when a motor vehicle, and this is for Georgia, guys, like I said, each state, you got your own laws. Just look up the state law for yours, right? When a motor vehicle has been repossessed after default in accordance with Part 6 of Article 9, that's the federal law over here they're talking about. Unless within 10 days after the repossession, he or she forwards by registered or certified mail or statutory overnight delivery to the address of the buyer shown on the contract or later designated by the buyer a notice of the seller's or holder's intention to pursue a deficiency claim against the buyer, right? So this is saying that if a secured party does not send a notice within 10 days about the repossessed car, and that message is sent by registered, certified, or statutory overnight mail to the buyer on the contract about their intent to pursue a deficiency claim against the buyer, they are not entitled to a deficiency claim. That's why you must know what your state and federal repossession law says. Then the next thing that must be done is a notice that advises the buyer of his or her rights of redemption. So in that notice, there should also be a notice telling the buyer or the holder what your rights of redemption are. You could come up to 123 Main Street, you can get the account current and we'll give you back the car. or you can show up to the auction and you will get first pick to redeem in the car. Like they must tell you about your rights of redemption. So as well as the right to demand public sale of the repossessed motor vehicle. So as the buyer, right, you also must be told that you have a right to demand a public sale of the repossessed vehicle. And if you decide to exercise your right to demand a public sale, then you must, in writing, within the 10 days, send a registered, certified, or statutory mail or overnight mail addressed to the seller to the address to which the letter that they sent you came back from. So you must do this within 10 days after receiving the notice. And it just goes on to give you more information on the state level. So when we're talking about suing for wrongful repossession, these are the laws that you need to know. You need to know your state laws, you need to know your federal laws. And by knowing your state and federal laws, you are able to now go through the repossession process. And going through the repossession process, this, ladies and gentlemen, is where, one, you can get the repossession deleted from your credit, and number two, you can actually get paid for violation of federal and state laws. So we're going to spend a little time on the federal side, right? So we know what the judicial and non-judicial process for repossession contains, right? It must be what? It must be a peaceful repossession and there's no breach of peace. So 611 speaks about notification of disposition, and it tells you who's supposed to be notified, right? The debtor and any secondary. So if you have a co-signer, both the co-signer and the obligor needs to be notified and they must authenticate the notice. So for those of you who don't know what authenticate means, the repossession letter that you get, the repossession letter must be signed. The repossession letter must be signed. Somebody's John Hancock needs to be there. It must be signed. It must be authenticated. If it's not authenticated, the notice is not executed correctly. The next thing you need to know is that any person for which the secured party has received before the notification date an authenticated notification of claim of an interest in the collateral. And any secured party or lien holder that 10 days before the notification held any interest or lien in the collateral, they must also get a filing statement, financing statement, and stuff like that. But this isn't the cool part, right? Let's go down to the pre-sale letter. You're supposed to get what is called a pre-sale letter. That's where they're telling you, hey, your car is up for repossession. We're going to take it if you don't pay up. That's a pre-sale letter. And in the pre-sale letter, I mean, that's your notification. Your pre-sale letter is the letter that's saying, hey, we repossessed your vehicle. It's being held at 123 Main Street. It's going for public auction December 1st, 19, whatever. That's when it's going for auction. And you have the ability to redeem or reclaim the collateral by making payments current. That's what your pre-sale letter should be like. It's something of that nature. And then after the pre-sale letter, so this falls under 611, the notice that I was telling you about. In this section, date means early after date, which a secured party what? Sends to the debtor and any secondary obligor an authenticated notification of disposition. This simply means they're telling you when we are going to dispose of the collateral. That's your pre-sale letter. And then now, after the pre-sale letter comes the time. What time limit is there on the notification? It speaks about reasonable time, and they're saying that it falls within like a 10-day, they want to use a 10-day period. That's considered reasonable time. So when we talk about contents of the notification, right? what should the contents of the notification look like? Well, the content, it should look something like this, right? Where it has the debtor's name, the obligor's name, or the co-signer, who it's from, the name of the debtor, for public disposition. And this is what the priest, like, it's supposed to look something like this. This is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look something like this. All right, 612, contents and notification for disposition. No application of, okay. So here on 616, 616, reporting a repossession deficiency balance on your consumer report is a form of collection. I'm gonna say this again. Reporting a repossession deficiency balance on your consumer report is an act of collecting. You see, after the collateral has been sold, you're supposed to get what is called a post-sale letter. In your post-sale letter, it has the repossession deficiency balance. The repossession deficiency balance is what is remaining. So the example would be, you have a car, right? So this is what a repossession, this is how it's done. So you have a car and the car was, they say you owed 15,000 on it, right? You owed 15,000 on it. Okay, cool. Then it got repoed, it went to auction, it got sold for 10,000, right? So the repossession deficiency balance is now 5,000. So if they sold it for less than what was owed, what's remaining is called your repossession deficiency balance. If it was sold for more, that is a surplus. That is called a surplus balance, and they have to take what was owed and send you a check for any overage or any surplus. Is everybody following? Drop it in the chat. Is everybody following? I know it's a lot of information, but I'm telling you, repossession is fun stuff because I'm going to show you guys how you can really get a bag off a repossession. All right. So explanation means a writing that states the amount of the surplus or deficiency, provides an explanation in accordance with subsection C of how the secured party calculated the surplus or deficiency, states, if applicable, that future debits, credits, charges, including additional credit service charges or interest rebates and expenses may affect the amount of the surplus or deficiency, and provide a telephone number or a mailing address from which the additional information concerning the transaction is available. A request means a record, and authenticated by a debtor or consumer obligor. So if you're going to send a request, you must sign it. That's what it's saying. Requesting that a recipient provide an explanation and send disposition of the collateral under section 9-610. So B is telling you that in a consumer goods transaction in which the debtor is entitled to a surplus or a consumer obligor is liable for a deficiency under section 9-615, the secured party shall send an explanation to the debtor or consumer obligor as applicable after the disposition and before or when the secured parties account to the debtor and pays any surplus, or first make what? Written demand on the consumer obligor after the disposition for payment of the deficiency. So within 14 days, if you if you write and you request a record of how they calculated the deficiency balance, they are supposed to respond to you within 14 days. And in the case of a consumer obligor who is liable for a deficiency, within 14 days after receipt of a request sent to the consumer obligor, a record waiving the party's right to a deficiency. We're not waiving any rights, so we're not even going to pay that part any attention. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it goes into more details, but I am telling you, all you need to find is one violation. And there's so many things that must be done. It is crazy for them to do repossession accurately. So what we want to go to now is the money parts. Can somebody drop the money part in? Just drop some money bags. I'm going to show you guys how you get paid now for repossession. Drop that money bag. Drop that money bag. Because a lot of you didn't know that you have a remedy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you got remedies. You can get paid for repossession that was not done correctly. If your rights have been violated where repossession is concerned, you can get paid for repossession, have the repossession deleted from your credit, and have the deficiency balance completely dismissed. Like, this is why I love repossessions. There is so much you can do. All you need to find is one violation. Can somebody say one violation? All you need to, you don't need to find 10. All you need to find is one. Just find one. You don't need to find all 15 violations. All you need is one. So let's find out what they're talking about, right? So remedies for secured parties' failure to comply with the article. If it is established that a secured party is not proceeding in accordance with this article, a court may order or restrain collection, enforcement, or disposition of collateral on appropriate terms and conditions. If there is a breach of peace, if there's a breach of peace, are they compliant? I'm going to ask you guys again. If there's a breach of peace, meaning that they came to repossess the vehicle. So let me break down breach of peace for you. If there's a protest when the vehicle is being repossessed, that's a breach of peace. If your vehicle is in your yard, on the driveway, behind a locked gate, and they open your gate and repossess the vehicle, that is a breach of peace. If your garage is locked, but the gate is open, and they come onto your property and open your locked garage by entering through your open gate, that is a breach of peace. Now, what is not a breach of peace? If you're parked on the street and they take it and there was no argument or protest, that is fine. They're in compliance. If your yard doesn't have a gate, or if the gate is open and they come onto your property and take the vehicle without incident, that's no breach of peace. If you have a gate, but the gate is open, you have a garage and the garage is open, and they come onto your property and take it, that's not a breach of peace. Y'all get what I'm saying? So the breach of peace happens if there's protest, fight, or argument. If you have a closed gate and they open your gate and come onto your property. If you have a closed garage and they open your garage and repo the vehicle, those are breaches of peace. Are we all following, and do we all know now what is a breach of peace and what is not? Perfect. All right. So if it is established that a secured party breached the peace and they are not proceeding in accordance with this article, a court order may restrain collection enforcement or disposition of the collateral on appropriate terms and conditions. So when you go to small claims or you go to state or federal court and you're suing now for UCC 9 violation because they either one, the repossession wasn't peaceful, or they didn't send you your pre-sale letter, they didn't tell you about your rights, you didn't get a post-sale letter, they didn't tell you how they calculated the repossession deficiency balance, they actually started reporting it on your credit, and they did not send you a notice explaining how they calculated the deficiency balance. Those are all violations, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so when you go to B now, B speaks about damages for non-compliance. Subject to subsection C, D, and F, a person is liable for damages in the amount of any loss caused by a failure to comply with this article. Loss caused by failure to comply may include loss resulting from the debtor's inability to obtain or increase credit costs. So if the repossession that is on your credit cost you, and we're going to end here. We're going to end here tonight for repossession. If the repossession, ladies and gentlemen, if the reporting of the repossession cost you, and when I say cost, it means that you went to refinance, you couldn't refinance because of the repossession. You went to apply for a credit card, you couldn't get it. You went to apply for a home, you couldn't get it. Those are called damages, and you got damaged because of the repossession on your credit. 15 U.S.C. 1691, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, and the FCRA both tells you that if an adverse action is taken against you, they must tell you what the adverse action is for. So that is your proof. The adverse action letter will be your proof that you got denied as a result of this negative item on your credit. And this is what you're going to use. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Prove the things that you are saying. Repossession is by far one of the most interesting things ever, because all you need to do is find a violation. Find the violation. Not only can you get the repossession deleted, you can actually get paid for the repossession, and you can have the repossession deficiency balance completely dismissed under appropriate terms and condition as you let the judge know what your terms and conditions are. Repossession is lit, bro. I'm telling you, repossession is lit. And for those of you that are just starting your credit repair business and you don't know how much to charge for deleting repossessions, repossession deletions go anywhere from $750 to $1,500. So if you're going to specialize in repossessions by itself, you can charge a client anywhere from $750 to $1,500 just to delete repossessions. And in the university, we have the dispute letters that you would be sending out for repossessions to get those accounts deleted. So if we're talking about deleting anything from your credit, guys, I'm telling you, the university is where you want to be. We have all the dispute process. We have all the dispute letters. We have everything that you're going to need to be successful, along with the correct training, right? So if we're talking about, so let me see, Koi says, full repo package $3,500. That's her price. That's her price. So if we're talking about deleting the repossession, evaluating the repossession process, all of that stuff, her price is $3,500. You, like I keep telling y'all, you can make a lot of money from this thing. But if you don't believe you can, you cannot. If you believe you can, you can. Either way, you are both right. The question is, what do you believe you are capable of doing. Tonight is Wednesday, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not looking to work with everybody. Like, I'm not. But for those of you that really want to learn this stuff, not only to help yourself, but to help other people and make a good side hustle or turn this into your business, guys, I'm telling you, Emil just dropped the link. I'm not working with everybody. You have to go through an interview. Like, I have to pick. I pick who I'm going to work with, right? So if you send in an application, it doesn't mean that you're going to get accepted in my university. I only want to work with people that are serious and people that are taking action on the things that they want out of their life, whether it's an additional stream of income, cleaning up your personal credit, getting into the 700 or the 800 club, or making a lot of money doing this. Like, these are the people that I want to work with. I don't want to work with people who have no idea what they want to do. You don't know. Like, you have to decide. It's either you're going to be in the same position that you were last week, last month, last year, because you're still in the same place, or you're going to decide that, hey, this is the time that I'm going to use. I'm going to learn this stuff, and I'm going to become the best, and I'm going to help a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to pay me a lot of money. There's 333 million people in America. 200 million have a credit report. 90% of that 200 million have some errors on their credit. Like, solve people's problems. Solve their credit problems, and they'll solve your financial problems. Oh, snap. Koi's at 10 grand a month. Let's go. 10 grand. Woo! Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. 10 grand a month. This can be your reality, but it's only your reality if you accept that it's time for me to become someone else. It's time for me to bet on me. It is time for me to be the best version of myself. Stop putting off starting your credit repair business. You've been thinking about it all this time, and you keep saying, you know what, maybe I'll start it tomorrow. Maybe I'll start it tomorrow. Well, guess what? Tomorrow never comes. You have today. And the seeds that we plant now gives us the fruits we're going to eat in the future. So if you don't decide to bet on yourself now, you can't reap and harvest that you didn't plant. If you want financial freedom, if you want to be financially free, the seeds of financial freedom must be planted. You must decide that it is time for me to take action on my own life. For far too long have I been just surviving off of bad credit. It's time for me to thrive. And if I didn't make this decision 4 years ago, if I didn't decide that I'm going to bet on me, if I didn't decide I was my greatest investment, I wouldn't be here right now giving you all this game. Think about it. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? And guess what? You know what, Emil, we're only taking 10 people because we're only going to take 10. So the first 10 that fills in the application, those are the first 10 that you're going to interview. Slow feet don't eat. I'm going to say this again. Slow feet don't eat. So we're going to go with the first 10 people that fill out the application. We'll interview them for possible enrollment in the university. Like I said, I'm not looking to work with everybody. I'm not. I want people that are serious and people that are motivated to get in the results. This is the year that we're getting paid. This is the year that we're getting checks. So if you're not about getting deletions, if you're not about getting paid for bad credit, this program is not for you. It's not. I only want people that's serious and that's going to execute. So Emil, keep account. When we get 10, just close the application. All right, just close it. Guys, I'll see So we're only accepting 10, all right?
All right, sounds good.
All right, cool. Guys, I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's class you do not want to miss, especially if you have clients with child support. You do not want to miss tomorrow's class. I am going to have Lionel Tillman here, my guy TJ. Child support is fraud. He'll be here tomorrow breaking down child support. You do not want to miss tomorrow's class. It's actually a master class. You don't want to miss it. So from your favorite island boy, y'all know what time it is. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Guys, write your child support questions down. I cannot stress this enough. If you got child support question, tomorrow is when they get answered. If you're in general admission right now, you will miss the entire child support masterclass. I'm going to say this again. If you're in general admission, you are going to miss it because that masterclass is going to be done on the Brain Picker session. So if you did not get a Brain Picker ticket, I do apologize, but you won't be able to see what's happening in the child support masterclass. So for those of you in general admission that's still on the fence about upgrading, you might want to do it now. Child support is fraud. That is tomorrow. And for those of you with child support questions, child support issues, that will be covered tomorrow in our Brain Picker session. If you do not have a Brain Picker ticket, if you're general admission, you will miss this masterclass. That part is a fact. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Good night, Dream.
Good night.
Peace.
All righty, good night, everybody.
Good night, Emil.
All right, night, Koi.